Damian Williams, halfback left side. Kelsey trots in motion across the face of Mahomes, who sprints out to the left side. He's holding it. He's going to try to hold it. Throws it late. It's caught it's caught. Touchdown! Kansas City. The Chiefs take the lead.
That was part of the Chiefs' ferocious 24-point comeback in the divisional round of the 2019 playoffs. The Chiefs, of course, went on to win the Super Bowl that year. And while this Texans team looks significantly different from that squad 3 years ago, this matchup certainly brings back some good memories. Hey everyone, and welcome into our game preview this week, presented by Crown Royal. My name is Matt McMullen, and this week we're joined by Aditi Kinkhabwala from CBS Sports. She's going to help us break down Chiefs and Texans. Aditi, how's it going?
Great. Although when you said that this Texans squad looks significantly different from 3 years ago, I feel like it looks different from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been a weird year for the Texans overall, and their record reflects that. They're 1-11-1. A lot of injuries this season, a lot of different quarterbacks this season for the Texans, but they're coming off maybe their best game of the year against the Dallas Cowboys last week. They were 1 yard away from winning that game against the Cowboys. Didn't work out, but they played with fight throughout that game. And I want to ask you about one of the reasons they were in that game. It's the 2-quarterback system they ran between Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll. Kind of kept the Cowboys off balance throughout and almost won that game for them. Are you expecting a similar kind of system this week with deploying 2 quarterbacks? And why was it so effective for the Texans last week?
Okay, so I don't know what to expect with the Texans. I had them a few weeks ago. I was on the sideline for the Dolphins-Texans game, and that was the week that Lovie Smith wouldn't say that he was switching from Davis Mills to Kyle Allen, and in fact had them splitting reps all week until Friday. He decided, okay, Kyle Allen will indeed start, and Kyle Allen never even ran a 2-minute drill that week. Kyle Allen plays. He gets better in the second half. He plays again the next week and is okay, whatever you expect out of a guy that hasn't played in 2 years. And then all of a sudden they're back to Davis Mills. And, I think it's just kind of, I hate to say throwing the kitchen sink, because you also said something very smart earlier when you said that they showed a lot of fight. The Texans showed fight against the Cowboys. And this is a conversation that I had on the field with general manager Nick Caserio about this team. And he said the big thing is, even though that record is as unwieldy or as ugly, let's just call it what it is, as it is, there are a lot of young players here who aren't throwing in the towel. There are a lot of guys that are still fighting, that are still battling. We saw it in that Dolphins game, the way in the second half the Texans fought back. We saw it against the Browns, where they were indeed competitive when that stadium was about as apathetic as can be. And I do want to get to that, by the way. And so I think that there are a lot of guys that understand from older players, like a Jerry Hughes, who was with the Bills and saw a rebuild, constantly telling them, you're putting things on tape for you. It may not be for this team. It may be for one of the 31 other teams, or it may be setting a tone for what this team is going to come back with a year from now. And these players are smart. They know that Nick Caserio has really only had a draft and a half. They know that he has 10 draft picks coming up, that this is a team that could be rebuilt or remade, look very different, to your point, very quickly. So you won't get a team that's going to lay down. Going back to the quarterback position, I don't know. I don't know how much of a difference it makes. I really don't. Like, if you were to ask me, the player that I think could be the most significant is Dameon Pierce, who may not play. I mean, this young man, this rookie, runs so hard. He's got the best contact balance I've seen of any rookie in years, I think. I'd put him up there with the upper echelon of running backs this year. And if he truly does have a high ankle sprain, you're not seeing him. And I think that is the Texans' biggest offensive weapon. If they were to run the ball, they would maybe be able to control the clock and maybe then limit the Chiefs being on the field. I don't know that happens with Rex Burkhead. And look, let's get back to this. Jeff Driscoll is indeed on the 53-man roster. I don't think you're doing that if you're not expecting to use him in some capacity or in some way. I think they found some sort of success offensively, mixing things up. I don't think they have anything to lose, so why not try whatever you can try?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Lovie Smith and this entire coaching staff for getting their players to fight all year long despite the results on the field, and just being creative. And it almost worked against the Cowboys last week again. They were 1 yard away from winning that game. Now, you mentioned Dameon Pierce. His status will be something to watch going into this game. We're shooting this on a Thursday. As of now, we don't know if he's going to play or not in this game. Has that ankle injury that he suffered late in the Cowboys game. They've also been missing wide receivers Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins lately. Cooks has a calf injury and Collins has a foot injury. Pierce, Cooks, and Collins have accounted for 54% of the Texans' offensive scrimmage yards this year. So if 1, 2, or 3 of those guys can't go, that's a very big deal. Even if some of them can go, if they're not fully healthy, that's a big deal. So something to watch here in this game. Now, I mentioned the fight earlier. We've also seen that on defense. Former Chief Tremon Smith had 2 interceptions last week on Dak Prescott. What are your keys for the Chiefs offense in this one to move the ball on Houston?
This is a very, very young team, and there are no gimmies, and the Cowboys certainly showed that a week ago. But it is so hard as the Chiefs are getting healthier and really starting to hum. And can we not forget that this is crazy to me. This is the first time that Patrick Mahomes is playing in the state of Texas. So in some ways, I think it's going to be a home game and a coronation of sorts for Patrick Mahomes. I think that'll really be some extra energy. What do they have to worry about? I think something to watch is if the young corner, Derek Stingley, can play or not. He's someone that you've been wanting to see, but again, he hasn't been able to play in a while, so how effective can he be? I think that it's a team that doesn't quit. It is a team that fights. So I think just be sound and don't be overconfident. And, you know, it's a team that in December you have to beat. That's what the Chiefs have to consider or look at, or, you know, this is not the time of year for bad losses.
No, you're certainly right. And overall, this is the number 26 scoring defense in the league. They haven't had a great year defensively, but they've been good in some areas. They've been good in the red zone this season. They're the number 7 red zone defense in the league, and they've forced 17 takeaways. So for the Chiefs entering this game, I think really just got to make sure they take care of business in this one. You mentioned Patrick Mahomes playing in Texas for the first time as a pro. It's very hard to believe. I feel like he's been in the league forever now, but I know he's excited about that opportunity. And if the Chiefs can take care of business in this game, they will lock up a 7th consecutive division title. It's an exciting time to be a Chiefs fan, and hopefully it can happen here in Houston on Sunday afternoon. Aditi, awesome stuff. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me. I so appreciate it.